Hi there, and welcome to a series of registration tutorial videos offered by SAPL. It's Sarah again, and I'm here to cover the final part of common registration terms used in the registration process. In part 3, the final part of the registration terminology series, I'll go over requisites, restrictions, reserve caps, and the wait list, which you will encounter during your registration experience. Requisites are conditions that you need to meet before you can register into a course. The QR code on the right will show you more information on interpreting course descriptions and includes the requisite definitions. In the next few pages, I'll also show you an example of each requisite. Prerequisites are conditions you must satisfy before progressing into a specific course. In this example, the prereq for Design 223 is Design 221 and admission into BDCI. This means that you won't be able to register into this class unless you are a BDCI student. In addition, to take Design 223, you have to first successfully complete Design 221. Prerequisites must earn a passing grade as determined by the school or faculty governing that class. For all design courses, the passing grade is at least a C- or higher. Anti-requisites are generally two courses where you can't have credit for both. There can sometimes be more than one course listed as an anti-requisite. This is because the content of the courses is too similar to one another. In this example, the anti-requisite for Design 241 is Sustainability Studies 201. To take Design 241, you'd have to lose a credit for SUST 201 because you can't have credit for both classes. In these situations, you'll need to connect with me or a SAPL advisor to sort out your registration permissions. Co-requisites are courses that must be taken in the same semester. In this example, Design 211 is listed as a co-requisite for Design 201. This means that when you register for Design 201, you will also need to register for Design 211. So when you're loading up your shopping cart, remember to add both co-requisite courses. In general, restrictions and reserve caps are implemented to protect the seats for students who need these courses for degree progression. Restrictions broadly refer to courses that have limited to no enrollment for certain student groups. This is to either ensure that certain student groups stay in specific courses or lecture sections. Restrictions can also be used to prevent certain student groups from taking specific courses because these courses are specialized for certain degree programs. Reserve caps, which are a type of restriction, are implemented to save seats for certain degree programs. For example, in a class with 100 seats, a reserve cap can be used to save 50 seats for students in a specific program so that they have priority registration. When registering, make sure you double-check the course information to locate the various restrictions and reserve caps. I'll go into a little more detail about restrictions and reserve caps and where to find this information in the next few slides. When you look at the course details on Schedule Builder, you'll find more information on restrictions if there are any. Sustainability 201 is a class that we recommend you take in your first fall semester in the BDCI program. Here, you can see that Lecture 2 of this course is restricted to non-BDCI degree students only, which means that all of you can only enroll in Lecture 1 of this course. I recommend using Course Search when reviewing course restrictions because I find it easier to view all the information. Here we'll look at Sustainability 201 again via this system. When you look up a class on Course Search and you see a purple star, it means that there's a restriction and/or reserve cap in place. You'll notice that Course Search generally will have a reminder of what the purple star means. To look at the restriction details, click on the course for more information. In this specific example, I'm actually going to look at Lecture 2 to see if we can find the same information that we previously saw in the Schedule Builder example. When we look at the enrollment information after clicking on Lecture 2, we see the same restrictions that appeared in Schedule Builder. As you've noticed, some of these details are embedded differently between Schedule Builder and Course Search. So when you're troubleshooting where a registration is happening, you sometimes need to check between both systems. It can be frustrating, but the extra sleuthing is helpful for figuring out some of the more common registration issues that you'll encounter. Now, we'll look at a few examples related to reserve caps. As a reminder, reserve caps are implemented to protect course seats for certain groups of students. This is to ensure that you can register in any courses needed for degree progression at your enrollment start time. That's also why it's really important to take advantage of your registration priority before it's too late. So a few slides ago, I mentioned that Lecture 2 of Sustainability 201 is restricted to non-BDCI students only. Lecture 1 of Sustainability 201, however, is open for BDCI and non-BDCI students. Because we want to make sure that you, the BDCI student, has priority getting into SUST 201, you can see on the screen that we have reserved 70 spots for the incoming BDCI cohort. Reserve caps are only in place for a given amount of time, so always pay attention to the time frame indicated. Here you can see that those 70 seats are held for BDCI students from March 1st to July 25th. You want to make sure you register into this class before July 26th, or spots may fill up quickly and you're out of luck for that class. Something to keep in mind, though, is that these dates might change every year depending on the number of people in the cohort, as well as the number of seats saved. So always check here while you're registering, especially prior to your enrollment start time. That's why it's important to figure out your enrollment start time and to always register right at that time to avoid missing out on a class because it's full, and then by hitting a full class, delaying your degree progression. So let's continue using SUST 201 as an example. This time, let's click on Lecture 1 to find out more about the class you need to enroll into. After clicking into Lecture 1, you can see here under Class Restrictions that the reserve cap is in effect from March 1st to July 25th, with 70 seats reserved for BDCI degree students. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but the most important part of registration is to not delay it. Make sure you take advantage of priority registration features that we've implemented, especially for you. There are students who wait until late in the summer or even right before the semester starts to register, and often these students end up missing out on crucial parts of their degree requirements because of what they need to get into was full. Another issue that has come up before is that students leave their courses in the shopping cart and never went through with adding those courses into their class. So they added them in their shopping cart at their enrollment start time, but in August or September, they realized that they didn't actually go through with the final enrollment process. So by then, they couldn't get into those classes anymore. By August or September, it's really outside of our control at that point because we can't add more students into classes that are already at capacity. When you end up with a situation where a course is full, one thing to check is if there is a waitlist available. Although joining a waitlist doesn't guarantee you a spot in the class, it at least puts you in line for when a spot does open up. The QR code on the right takes you to more information on how waitlists work. Because not all classes have waitlists, I also recommend that you keep checking for course availability. Students change their registration, and especially during the first week of classes, so there is potential for you to nab an open spot if you check diligently. As I've mentioned before, advisors can't help you jump the line and/or enroll you into a class that's already full. So the best way to avoid the anxiety and panic that comes with being on the wait list and checking courses frequently is to take advantage of your enrollment start time and register into your classes right away. I have one final resource for you. This link takes you to more information on all the terms I've covered in all three parts of the registration terminology videos. Feel free to check it out as a way to summarize all the information you learned from this three-part series. As a reminder, all the reference links I've shared throughout these videos can also be found in each video's description. This takes us to the end of the three-part series of videos on common registration terms. The icons I've used in all three presentations were from flaticon.com, and I've noted the various authors here under the credits. Thank you for tuning in.